I have way too many NetGalley arcs piling up in my to read file, so I am going to be attempting to read through a couple of these arcs. Welcome to A Little Bit of Monica. Thanks for joining me. I am very excited to be getting into some of my NetGalley arcs that have been really piling up, and I've been trying to turn around my reviews as quickly as possible, and it has not been working. So I am going to be reading 2 books for this vlog. They are going to be very, very different, and that is intentional because I want 2 very different vibes for going into this winter season. The first book is going to be a winter themed book, and that is Where the Dead Wait by Ali Wilkes. This book is a polar gothic exploration story featuring a cannibal twist. So I am very excited to try this out. It sounds dark, it sounds eerie, and I'm gonna find out what it's all about. The second book that I am really excited to read is Till There Was You by Lindsay Hammeroff. This is a romance, so a very different genre, very different vibe altogether. This is I want to say it sounds like a second chance romance, also a one-night stand turned into a romance. I'm very excited to try this. It is about a chef and a celebrity singer, or someone who becomes a celebrity who writes a song about the like one-night stand type of deal, and he becomes famous, and she then begins dealing with the side effects of having a song written about her. Something along those lines. I am not quite sure at this point where this story will go, but I'm really excited because these are going to be 2 very different books, and even if one does not work out, I have the other one that is the polar opposite. Get it? Polar, because the one is polar gothic. Anyway, they are polar opposites, and I am excited to see how these 2 arcs stand up, and hopefully I will have good things to report. Okay, so I am getting ready to start the first book in my winter book selection, and this book that I'm going to start with is Where the Dead Wait by Ali Wilkes. This book I got from NetGalley as an arc, and I never got around to reading it. It did come out on December 5th, and so I'm just reading it a couple of days late, but I'm really excited for this book. I remember requesting it a while back, and it seemed really interesting, but I since then have completely forgotten what this book is about. So I reread the description, and I am very excited, but also very nervous. It's described as polar gothic, and this is about a like scientific exploration team, I guess, that originally there was a team that had gone out to do research of some sort. I don't know. I actually already forgot exactly what they were doing. But anyway, it's this team that goes out into the like polar ice, and they get trapped. And the only way that the people who survive is by feeding off of their dead comrades. Now, the leader of the expedition is dealing with the guilt of everything that happened all those years, and so the story takes place with a second expedition that is going out to, I guess, a similar, if not the same location that the original team went, and the leader of the first expedition, I think he was the leader, is going back as well, and so he is going to be dealing with all of the memories of the cannibalism and the trauma of just in general everything that happened during that first expedition, getting stuck in the ice or wherever they were. Oddly enough, this isn't even the only book about cannibals that I've been considering reading recently, which I don't know what that says about me, but I am very interested in what this book is going to turn into. I do want to show, this is the cover. It's black and white on my Kindle, but I love this cover. It is so eerie, and it's just like a hole in the ground, but there is a hand that is like reaching out of the hole. It's like a hole in the ice. There's a hand reaching out of it. It just looks very creepy, and I really love this, so I am very excited to get started. Okay, so I made it to 25%, and I don't really know how to feel about this book. At 25%, I feel like I've learned a lot about the backstory and yet also nothing at the same time. I'm a little bit confused on the timeline. This is an alternating timeline story, so it's set in the 1800s and we're getting the first expedition of this like polar, I'm not even sure what these people are doing, research or something. I don't even know what these expeditions are for. Totally. They have a bunch of like different people on board, I think. But anyway, the first expedition is where, you know, everything initially went wrong, where they got trapped on land and went hungry, and they were all like on the brink of death, and then they resorted to cannibalism of the comrades who had already died. Well, now fast forward to like the present day, which is still in the 1800s. Like the original year, I think it was like 1869, and then fast forward to the present day, which is like 1882. They are on a new ship going to find Jesse Stevens, who was on the original expedition, and he is now missing. Like he went out on another ship and has been missing. And so William Day, who was the 4th lieutenant of the first expedition, who then was acting captain once the original captain was unable to continue his duties, Day stepped in, and so he was considered like the leader of the expedition by the time everyone was like rescued. And so Day is now going to find Stevens, and there's a lot of people on the ship for the second expedition in the present timeline. There's like a spiritual medium who's going to try to like commune with the spirits while they are traveling. There's a reporter that's there to investigate what happened to the original expedition and also what happened to the Stevens guy that they're looking for, and just kind of like keeping an eye on everyone. But honestly, like it just feels like there's a disconnect in everything. Like there's a lot happening, kind of. No, honestly, there's not a lot happening. There's just a lot existing. There's a lot that you know should be happening and is going on, but I feel like there's just like a disconnect on what I'm actually reading and comprehending. And I've been trying so hard to make sure that it's not just a me problem, that like I'm not understanding it or like I'm in a funk. But I don't know. The other problem that I have with this book is chapter 1 was 25% of the book. It is broken up into mini sections that help to like do the alternating timelines, but yeah, I made it to chapter 2 at 25% of the book, and that's a little bit weird to me. It's very uncommon that chapters are set up like that, but at this point I don't even know what to feel like. It picked up a lot right before the end of the chapter because they went through a storm, and you know, like it got kind of interesting, but I don't know where I feel like I don't dislike this book, but I'm having a lot of trouble. If I put it down, I'm having a lot of trouble picking it back up. So I'm not going to give up on it yet, but I don't love this just yet. I do feel like there is going to be a lot more that's uncovered as far as like the horror elements, because I think it's going to be more supernaturally. Like I think they are going, I mean, there's a medium here. So I feel like we are going to have some sort of spirit involvement, whether it's the spirit of like the men who died on the first expedition or what's going to happen, I don't know. But I feel like there's got to be more horror elements, because right now it's just kind of, I want to say it is suspenseful, not really knowing what's going on. It is just more of a historical fiction story and not so much of the horror element, other than knowing what happened sort of on the first expedition. So I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen, but yeah, only 25%. We will see where this goes. Okay, update. I am DNFing Where the Dead Wait. I tried multiple times to pick up this book, and to be honest, I just was not excited ever. There was no point where I feel like genuinely interested enough in this story to want to keep going. The concept is interesting enough that I wish that I was excited to read it, because in reading the description, I thought it was going to be very interesting, but it's just not working for me. The cannibal theme was definitely one of the things that stood out as going to be interesting, and while it is still a major theme because it's a major issue that the main character faced, I feel like there wasn't as much centering on that yet. I would have to get through a lot of the book before I was able to actually read about that particular scene. And so this is not working for me. It's also set in the 1800s, and I think the time period, the historical factor, is working against me as well, because I'm just not there. And the majority of the book so far, I made it to like 27%, and the majority of the book has taken place on the ship when they're on their way looking for the missing survivor. And I don't know, like, it's just not what I expected, and it's not enough up front for me to want to keep going. So I am going to put this one down and DNF it. I'm very sorry. I thought it was going to work, but it's just not. Hey guys, I am coming to you right now during the Christmas bash, hosted by Lexi from Books with Lexi, Mel from Mel Lenore Reads, and Cass from Covers with Cassidy. I am wearing my decked out Christmas sweater, which lights up. I'm so excited. This is going to be a riot, so I am going to be vlogging along some of the ridiculous things that they're going to be having us do today. So I hope that you enjoy watching this back, because I'm about to get ridiculous and I am so excited. I don't even have my wine yet, so let's go.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to scare you guys. Lexi's not back yet.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of context. This is Cassidy put together a compilation video of all of the most wild, unhinged moments from the past like year, and it is an absolute wild time. The most random things are happening right now. This is fantastic. Cassidy, you're my hero for putting this all together. I am cracking up. Okay, I have the sound turned down on the video. They are currently opening the Secret Santa exchange gifts, and I have mine here, and I've kind of already, like, I can see what they're opening, so I'm gonna go ahead and open mine. I'm very excited. I kind of like saw that there was a gift note with it when I like first opened the box, so then I purposely did not open what the book was. So let's do this. I don't know, something at the bottom of the box. I love the like Amazon gift bags. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Monica. I'm from Canada, so it felt right buying a book with hockey in it. Enjoy reading your book, Marty, from your secret dragon potato monster. Thank you, Marty. I'm very excited to open this. Please pause while I struggle. Yes. I got Icebreaker. Thank you, Marty. I read this book. I don't remember when I read this, but I really, really liked it. And so now I'm like in this world, and it's shocking because it's like a spicy romance. But I love hockey and ice skating vibes. So this was such a good book, and I am very excited to now be able to add it to my shelf. So thank you. So we are playing Jeopardy right now. I am doing poorly. It's whoever answers first correctly, and I've gotten a couple right, but the only one that I guessed first correctly was like a couple questions ago about Boys in the Valley. This is very loud. So I'm doing really poorly, but we're still going. Let's see if I can get this next one. I don't feel confident. Ratings. So we have to guess what they rated certain books.
Then it's not. Lexi gave The Will of the Many.
Ah, man. I did not get this one first, but I did get it right. I think.
This question doesn't count, then.
I just watched this video. The question is, how many stars did Lexi give Will of the Many? And I literally watched this video last night. So
did you get with this is what I'm wondering. I did whatever Lexi told me because the video wasn't out yet. So I did what Lexi told me.
I think I got this one right, but I was not the first one, so I don't get a point for it. This is really difficult. Mel created this Jeopardy board and all the questions and stuff, and they are so hard.
Because I was like, I know.
I'm struggling.
Lexi gives 0.5s and I don't. So. Yeah, but this lists 4 stars. Yeah.
I can't.
Bring me a book with a title that's 10 letters long. Bowser's like, time to play? That was so quick.
You guys have it again? I fucking hate you.
Make me a rainbow. Roy G. Biv, out of book spines.
Why? I was down there.
You were so close, but she was faster.
I was literally standing here and just had to turn around.
Go
I
dress,
put it up as you were turning around. No, sorry.
go dress up as the other person and bring me a book they gave 5 stars.
What? Like right now? Are you talking about at this moment?
Oh, you're trying to dress up
I'm not wearing a crew neck right now.
You're trying to dress up as this. I would give that to Alexis Bell. I'm guessing you gave me those 3 5 stars.
In what?
Oh, yeah. We're so excited. Bleed, just crawl everywhere. Bring me or show me something that helps you read faster. Okay. Next one is a book over 800 pages. Show me a bookmark. Show me a book that was published before you were born. A book that was published in 2021. Okay, show me a book that you have multiple covers of. You reading back. Monica, she's like, I'm about to. One more.
Oh no, I put my book up.
Okay, ready. Show me a Christmas tree made of books.
Oh, there's another one?
Because I already turned my camera off. but it was a tie for third place, so we redid one and I managed to win. So now I am third place in the scavenger hunt, so I get a point on the board for the overall ranking at the end of the night. Yay! I'm sweating so much. Doing some more Kahoots where it is trying to identify the book cover based on the Goodreads like top rankings. So these are really hard.
Is there anybody else that wants to join and move a second?
Okay, I am 50% of the way through this book and I am obsessed. Like, I am genuinely convinced that this book was written personally for me. I don't even know how to like put real words to this. Let me back up and give a little bit of context. So first of all, the main female character, she is a culinary student and she has like sworn off relationships because she doesn't have time for it with her education. Love that for her. Then she goes to the bar and her friends have to leave and she decides to stick around. She meets a guy at the bar and he gets up on stage and starts singing and she realizes that he has the voice of an angel and the face to match. So they hit it off and he takes her to another place where they listen to more music and dance all night and they have the best time. And then they hook up and they spend an entire weekend together. It's so cute, okay? It's so cute. We get this romance relatively spice-free. I don't want to say that it's totally closed door romance, but it's like the door is cracked. Like, it is very light, and honestly, that's what I love. It's what I prefer, and like it's the most beautiful type of relationship in this book. Like, I'm obsessed, okay? So he's like obsessed with her. This guy is a musician and he's like, hey, I'm going to LA to record my demo album. And then they talk a little bit while he's there, but then he drops off the face of the planet, stops talking to her, and she's like, what the heck? She's very upset. She doesn't hear from him for a very long time. Fast forward, he later reappears in her life and she's thrown off, like, what am I supposed to do with this? You ghosted me a long time ago. And she discovers that he had written songs about her and they were hits and now he's famous and she knows that they're about her. We're getting to the point where very soon I think people are going to start discovering that she is the one the songs are about. But when he comes back to town, it sets a new foundation for a friends to lovers. So it was strangers to lovers, like one night stand kind of material at the beginning, and now we're into like friends to lovers where they are like trying really hard to define their relationship and like navigate a relationship where they don't want to hurt each other, but they're so freaking cute. I am literally obsessed. This is the type of book that like everything is going so well, like so cute, and I'm so obsessed with it that I'm scared. I'm terrified of the rest of this book because I don't want it to be ruined. And like I feel like lately I've been reading a lot of books that are really great up until the ending and then something happens and I'm like, no, that was just like not smart. Like it wasn't written well, or wasn't, I don't know, like something that angers me, and I'm really scared because I'm loving this book. Not only is it cute, almost spice free, like they just are so freaking cute, but there's also life-changing references to pop culture that make this feel like it is written specifically for me, okay? There's a Twilight reference on page 1. Sold already. Then we find out that both of the main characters are musical theater nerds, so they talk about Broadway all the time. Then we get to the point where they bond over their shared love of the Golden Girls, and then they binge watch the Golden Girls together. Then she makes a reference to Titanic. Then fast forward a little bit longer and it's not them as a couple, but Lexi and her friend Allie start watching The Price is Right and are fawning over Bob Barker. And I'm sorry, but like, how is this literally written for me? Like, this book is Monica coded, and I can't get enough of it, but it scares me for what's gonna come, because I'm halfway, I'm like at the 50% mark, and I'm so scared because everything seems to be going really well. They have a very healthy communication, which I appreciate, and they just seem to like be handling things like adults, and I just am scared. I'm scared because something has to go wrong, right? Like, I already forgot like what the description of the book was, so I kind of have forgotten what else is supposed to happen, but I'm very excited because I love this book so much, and I'm so excited to finish it. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you say it, but you should know that just because I'm not saying it either, it doesn't mean I don't feel it. Oh my god. I finished the book, and this was a full 5-star read for me. Going into the book, I could not have predicted this was going to be 5 stars, but from the beginning of the book, like as soon as I got into it, it was trending towards 5 stars. And honestly, by the end, I am obsessed with this. Like, everything about this book was so good to me. Like, it felt like this book was written personally for me, honestly. All the pop culture references and the progression of the story, the relationship, everything just felt personally tailored to me. I don't know, maybe I wrote this in my sleep or something, because it was everything to me. The 2 main characters are so like wholesome, and I love them. I love them both, and that doesn't happen very often. I feel like I typically end up hating one of the main characters in a romance quite often because, I don't know, it's just, they're not always written super well, or one of them is like so irritating or toxic. And in this situation, like, I don't feel that way. I genuinely loved them both, and I feel like they had a lot of really healthy elements to the relationship. There were a lot of moments that I remember like pausing and thinking like, wow, this was handled so maturely. Like there were a few times where Lexi would like start spiraling a little bit. Jake could tell that she was in her head about something, and he would literally sit down and be like, we need to talk. What is wrong? Why are you upset? Please tell me what's going on, and like trying to get her to talk. And it was like, thank you. Thank you. This never happens. I feel like romances often have the relationship, they are just ignoring everything and like not talking about their issues, and this was not the case. This book handled a lot of that really well. Obviously there was still miscommunication, and they still failed to address their actual feelings in like a great way until the end, like until it's too late. But I feel like progressively throughout the story there were a lot of instances where they did handle like minor issues really well. I feel like one of the main themes of this book is that they are two adults who are chasing their career goals and also trying to seek a relationship and trying to navigate those two things, and how to navigate two very strong career paths that are very different. And there were some times where I was really worried that it was going to be like, oh, one of them is going to give up their dream for the other. But that wasn't the case. I mean, they did both have to make adjustments to their lives, but it was never like over a girl or over a boy. It was a lot of factors of their lives coming together and making them realize that just like changes were necessary for a healthy progression of their own lives plus the relationship with the other. And I just feel like that was so good, and it's not super often that I see a healthy representation of this done in a story. Throughout the whole book, I just felt like I was rooting for them the whole time. At one point, there is a potential love triangle that's introduced, and thank the Lord, it was squashed within like 5 minutes. I didn't worry about it at all, and it felt so good because I hate dramatic love triangles that are like forced in every story, and in this case it wasn't there, and I loved it. There was a lot of element of like jealousy and third party presence within the relationship, but I think it fit into the narrative really well and did not make me want to pull all my hair out like it does a lot of times when there is a love triangle introduced. I also am obsessed with the representation of their sexual relationship and the spice within this book. It was beautiful. I don't need a lot of spice, and I feel like a lot of contemporary romance is kind of at a very similar higher spice level. This one was a lot lower, and I really appreciated it because it let us focus on the like more nuanced, the more, I don't know, like romantic elements of their relationship, which I think was a main focus for them. The two of them cared so deeply about each other and did so many romantic things that like I didn't need a focus on their sexual tension, their sexual relationship, and it was just done so well. Like I didn't miss the spice at all. I'm actually glad it wasn't there, and I just love that. Like it just, everything about this book fit together so nicely for me. But also, I mentioned the pop culture references really early on, that there were a lot of references that like personally I was like, these relate to my life. I got to like the 95-96% point in this book when I thought the pop culture references couldn't get any better or couldn't get any more specific to me. They did, because like I'm in the last like 5 minutes of reading this book and the Backstreet Boys are mentioned as being present in the story, and I literally lost my mind. I sent Michelle a full all caps message being like, no effing way the Backstreet Boys just showed up. Like what? Taylor Swift was also mentioned. At one point they were listening to Taylor Swift in the car. Like it was just everything about this book, every pop culture reference was like personally tailored to me, and I really love that. It just made me feel like I could appreciate this book so much more beyond like the actual story that I also really loved. Like I'm just droning on at this point and like gushing because this book made me feel so good. It felt so wholesome, and I love the relationship that came out of it. Like I can't think of any actual complaints about the story other than like maybe some slight inconsistencies with like oh, tomorrow is Wednesday and the next day is Friday. I'm like, that's not true. Like, you got your days mixed up. But like those kinds of details don't bother me. Like, I'm hung up on it for like the 2 seconds where I'm like, wait a second, and I'll figure it out and I'll be like, oh, it's just wrong, it's fine, and I move on. I don't care. Those inconsistencies do not bother me when it comes to reading a book. This book was 5 stars. It vibes only. I absolutely was living for it. Like, I mean, you saw me, I was literally laying on the floor in my library, avoiding my work responsibilities and kicking my feet while reading this book. Like, I was giggling, I was smiling the whole time. I can't get enough of this book, and it was a debut. Like, this was this author's debut, and I am absolutely obsessed. I cannot wait for this book to come out so I can buy it for myself, and I cannot wait for her next book because this was amazing. Also, I don't think she lives that far from me, so I'm hoping that maybe I can catch some author events and meet her and talk to her about this because I'm literally obsessed. I've already interacted with her on Instagram and Threads because I am obsessed with this book, and I don't know what else to say about it because that's it. It was 5 stars, and honestly, I think it's in my top 10 books of the year, and it hasn't even come out yet. So an arc of 2024, it comes out in February 2024. So this arc that I read in 2023 is probably going to be in my 2023 top reads of the year. I loved it so much, and I hope that other people will choose to read this because it's adorable. Like, it also, let me just put a preface out there. I don't know if this will make or break it for people, but the vibe that I was getting from this book is very much teenage girl who writes a fan fiction about her favorite celebrity as like a meet cute where the celebrity falls in love with her and they live happily ever after. That's exactly what this was feeling like, which, I don't know, like, I daydreamed about that kind of stuff when I was a teenager, so maybe like that's why I ended up loving this, because it was an adult experiencing that exact thing that I as a teenager would have like daydreamed about. But it just felt so good, and it was fully fleshed out. It was like the relationship ended up being healthy, and I just love it. I love it so much. And also, it had a lot of similarities to You Again by Kate Goldbeck that I read just before reading this book, and it had a lot of similarities, but like this book did it better. Like, every similarity that I found between this book and that one was done better. So that is what I have to say about this book, and I hope that other people will pick it up and love it as much as I did, because I will be thinking about this for the next multiple months until it releases, and then after that too. So that's all. Okay, so I have now finished my 2 books for the ARC vlog, and let's just sum it up a little bit. The first one was a DNF, 27%, not super successful, not for any offensive or terrible reason, just because I was not having a good time with it. I was dreading picking it up, and that's just not what I want to experience when I'm reading a book. I want to be able to be excited to keep reading. So I put that one down before I ended up hating myself even more for continuing on. But the second book was an outstanding success at a 5-star read, catapulted to the top of my favorite books for the year. I am so excited for this book to come out because it was so good. The reading experience was so beautiful, and the characters, the story, all of it was just so precious and heartwarming, and I am going to be thinking about this book forever. I feel like getting a favorite book of the year or a top 10 contender makes this all worth it, even if the first one was a DNF. So I am so grateful to continue getting these NetGalley arcs and being able to read books before they come out or right around the time that they come out, and being able to read them and review them. I just love doing that. So I am really excited to hopefully be doing this again down the road, because inevitably I will have my NetGalley arcs start to pile up again, because that's just what happens when I have so many books that I want to read and not enough time in the day. For now, that's everything I have for you. So please don't forget to comment below if you have any thoughts on the books or if you're excited to read them as well. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can keep up with all of my upcoming videos, because I'm very excited for everything that I have coming in the new year, and I hope you are excited as well. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!